Greetings, Second Life music fans. I'm Alexis Crisp, and this is Behind the Pixels on the Crisp Network, the music show that features Second Life's most beloved music influencers. Tonight, we're meeting the gifted Oblee. In just a few moments, Oblee will join us out on stage for an exclusive interview, followed by a music set exclusively available to stream on our website at crispsl.com. So get cozy, grab a diet Snapple, and a towering bucket of sour gummy worms, and enjoy. Hey, Oblee, thanks for sitting down with us, and thank you for that exclusive set, which can now be streamed at crispsl.com. So we now have a few questions to ask you. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Awesome. So let's start with the most obvious question, at least for me. How'd you come up with your avatar, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Well, I built this avatar in 2015. I never really felt like any of the human avatars really um, represented me. I always thought they were a bit too good looking or something. So I decided we're all sort of puppets in here, and it's I guess that we feel like we're controlling a little puppet, and so that's kind of how it evolved. And then the circuit boards underneath of the wood, that kind of came out of just the cross between the synthetic and the organic, which is again kind of what we're doing in here. And I think that sort of also sums up my music. Sorry, I crouched down, but it sums up my music in that I use a lot of real instruments, but I also use like a digital phrase sampler, and so in a lot of ways, it's also the organic and the synthetic coming together. So
I love that.
I think that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation. I can't. You're like an artist through and through. You like designed your own avatar, and like you. Oh my gosh, you sing and you songwrite. You do everything. That's so awesome.
It's
um, what's
it's
that?
just keeps me out of trouble. It keeps me busy and out of trouble, so it works out.
So how long have you been in the music industry in general, and also on Second Life?
Well, as a performer or instrumentalist, I've played in bands for many years. For most of my life, I took a few years off. I worked at a ski resort, and so I was kind of a ski instructor, and so I was always just skiing or hiking, climbing mountains, and so I definitely took some years away from music. But I played in bands as a drummer mostly, and so in the early 2000s, did a ton of touring with various different bands, and I live in the Four Corners area where Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado all come together, and so it's sort of about as far away from an interstate as you can be. And so for a touring musician, it's incredibly difficult. And so in about the end of 2007, I found Second Life through some friends and heard there was music going on, and I actually kind of became a solo performer in Second Life and through Second Life. So I think before that, I had written songs and I played a lot of instruments, but I never put it all together until I came here to Second Life. So 12 years, almost 13.
Wow, time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun. I know.
Yes.
I was a whole
Um,
different person back then.
and something so speaking of that, I guess speaking about your style and who you are, I mean, your style is really like unlike anything that I've seen before. Especially also just your music sound as well. It seems just so unique. So where does your inspiration come from, and sort of how did you get here?
Well, I really appreciate that. And
Of course.
um, I, I really, I guess that, I do listen to music. I listen to the radio often. I love AM radio. Like I like listening to just weird things that I've never heard. But I also, I'm not a huge music listener. Like I listen to the wind blowing through trees a lot more than I listen to music, and so I think the natural world has influenced my music more than anything. And I think that I guess that stylistically, it's been one of my goals, to just to do what I feel I should be doing, rather than the pressures of sounding like this or sounding like that or sounding like a genre, or fitting into a genre or fitting into something else. And so I maybe it's just selfishness. It's like I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and that's it, and that's the end of the story. So I think that yeah, my inspiration definitely comes from largely from nature and from also interactions with other human beings.
I love that. That sounds so spiritual. Really, I mean, that's awesome. So organic, you know. I love that vibe.
I hope it is too. I hope it is.
Yeah,
It's if I have any spirituality, it's in there somewhere,
I
in
love
the
that.
music somewhere.
So I mean, truly, I feel like you play a lot of instruments. I Googled around and I tried to get more information. I wanted to see like exactly what you played, and you play a lot of stuff, a lot of unique stuff. What is the most unique thing instrument that you play, or semi instrument that you play? Because I saw you have a well range of things that you pull from to make your music.
Um, yeah, and my bass, my father's an organist and pianist, and um, fairly well accomplished guy, and just an amazing musician. And he focuses on the piano, but he can obviously pick just anything up. And one of the things he kind of drilled into me as a kid was just like, it's music. It doesn't matter what the instrument is. Like all the instruments are the same. Like there's no difference between playing the guitar or playing the piano or playing the bass or playing, anything. And so I've never really thought of myself as very good at any of the instruments that I play, as far as like being
Oh,
like a virtuoso or anything. And it's just kind of like whatever, it's like the old construction worker saying like whatever the tool for the job is. But I suppose the most unique things that I find are often, percussion instruments because percussion is the oldest form of music, and I think the most universal. I mean, you can travel anywhere in the world and hit some things and make some noise out of them, and people do that. And so, and obviously now we have, I mean, for many years we've had this ability with great synthesizers and digital instruments, and so you can have a copy of Ableton and play any instrument you want, but most people are playing those through like a keyboard. So I I guess if I had to pick one, my cigar box guitar, and that's because it was made for me by a dear friend as a gift, and so it's just a homemade instrument, and I love using it, and it's just kind of a cool little instrument. So that's I guess my unique one. That's the one I
I
really
love that.
like to play. But yeah,
I thought you'd
and
say the cowbell.
the cowbell, of course. Well, I actually have a plan, a video that I've been wanting to make for years. That's just in my garden because I spend most of my waking hours in my garden, and so I'm always tapping things out there, and I'm always playing drums on rain barrels or the back of the pickup truck or something like that. And so I've always wanted to make like a percussive song that used everyday objects, of course, that are because anything can make music, make the make the dog squeak on cue or something. But so yeah, but I think that's yeah for me. I guess I feel that all instruments are sort of just the same. It's a shovel or a rake, and a shovel and a rake can be a great instrument too.
I love that. I love that. I love that it's again, it's an organic process for you. I love it. It comes from the heart. I can tell.
That's
Um,
all I got.
yeah. So here at Behind the Pixels, we have this little thing called our Behind the Pixels time machine, and I ask pretty much everyone this question. So here we go. We're gonna load into the time machine here. If we could go back to any historical time in history, and you could be a famous musician, which time would you choose, and also why?
Well, would I have the knowledge of this time? I guess would my knowledge of history and things remain intact?
I think
So
so.
I could go back into like the 1700s and play Kraftwerk covers or something, on the harpsichord. Um,
Yes.
but I guess that throughout history, and history is one of my biggest interests. I love to read and study history. It's kind of a fun pursuit, and it seems like at every time kind of thinks like this is it. This is there's a great historian that I listen to does podcast hardcore history, and Dan Carlin is his name, and he said something like every society feels that they're at the pinnacle of of time, of this is it. This is like the most important time. This is the defining moment of our species and our planet and everything else. And everyone's felt like that. The Romans felt like that. This 17th century French felt like that. Everybody's kind of gone through this time, and so I think that we're in that same sort of situation where we feel like this is the most important time, and I guess you could say that it is because this is the only time that hasn't happened yet, and so I think I'm really happy right here, because I don't know what's coming and I don't know what's next. Whereas if I could retain my knowledge of history and go back in time, I would have a sort of an unfair edge, I guess. And so maybe that fear of the unknown that drives so much of what we do, and for me, it drives so much of my music. There's a lot of fear in my music, I guess, and existential dread and things like that. And so I don't know that I would want to be anywhere else but right here and right now. And
Love that.
so yeah, I
It's
think
you
I
know,
think this is it.
it's a scary time to live in right now, but you know what? I think I agree with you too. There's a lot of hope for the future and a lot of promise, and there's going to be a lot of good things coming. So I like that. I like that
Absolutely. The kids are all right, man.
answer. So what has been your best musical collaboration to date, and also any collaborations you'd like to see in the near future or that will happen that we don't know about yet?
Oh boy, I I don't know. I don't want to leave anyone out. My songwriting is a really deeply kind of personal thing, and I think that you expose your inner self quite a bit, and so there's obviously a lot of trust involved when you're writing songs with people. Um, I have a friend, Ecopathy, and you can look him up, or put a link in the thing. He's amazing, and he's done some remixes of my stuff. And one of the most fun collaborations that we ever had. He came to visit for Christmas, and maybe we had a few beverages, and one of us accidentally pulled like the bar stool across the hardwood floor, and it made this like sound like Chewbacca. And then so we got some microphones and we just started recording pulling bar stools across the floor and put a lot of reverb on it. And I have it somewhere. I probably should never put it on an album, but maybe I should. And that was really fun. It's really fun to have a spontaneous moment of creation with someone. And then when I played drums for a band called Aftergrass, I was strictly the drummer, but I did a lot of the songwriting, and I did it with the guitarist Jesse, who's a great friend of mine, and they were like ski bum buddies and like to ski together and play music together. And I think with him is the most comfortable I felt writing songs, and the songs that we've written together I think have been better than the songs that we've written apart. And so I think that's my favorite collaboration. But here in Second Life, I've done quite a bit of dual streaming. A lot of times in Second Life, when you dual stream with somebody, you play covers because it's just you both know the song. It's so much easier to say, okay, we both know Freebird, although I've never played Freebird with somebody, but we both know this one song, so it's easier for us to dual stream it. And so there's a group called the Federales who used to play here in Second Life, and it was four people on a stream, like no, four people each on their own stream. And so rather than a dual stream, it was a quad stream, and it was just this big crazy mess, and that was so much fun. We laughed constantly, and we had just a wonderful time. And then I've played with drummers. I've been the drummer. I like sometimes just sitting in on the drums. I think sitting in on the drums for like Max Clean. I've sat in with him playing drums before, and it's a hoot. And for me, it's kind of like I don't have to think that hard about it. I just sit back and listen and play the drums, and so I love doing that. So, but they've all been just wonderful, and so I guess part of that's playing music is one sort of collaboration, and writing music is another. And so obviously they're different people for each.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds. I knew you had a lot of collabs. I didn't know about all of them, but it sounds like you've been very busy.
I try to stay busy, and I never say no to anything. People, I'm
Well,
super
we
easy.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I never say no. Don't don't print that. No, just kidding. You can print that.
So what's your daily and monthly schedule like? And also any big performances or releases coming soon that we should mark our calendars for?
Well, my second album is I feel like it's should be done by now, but obviously we had this pesky little global pandemic that sort
Oh
of
yeah.
got in the way. One of the first things that I canceled, when this whole thing happened, was I was getting together to rehearse with the musicians who are going to play on this album, and we were just going to run the songs and practice and get ready, then go in the studio and just knock the whole thing out in one shot. And of course, that got postponed, hasn't been reinstated yet. So
Oh
I'm
no.
just sort of waiting. So that album, I want to say it's in flux, but I would like to think it will be out by the end of the year, and if not, early in 2021, barring anything else. And then as far as my schedule, my lovely managers are here, who maintain so much of that for me and keep my calendar going. But I have a website, obleemusic.com, where I keep my shows posted, and I feel like there's always something on the horizon, and something always comes up, and so please just check there, and hopefully there's more to come. And I'm just starting to get back into real life playing, and playing at these shows where all the tables are like 10 feet apart. It's an interesting time to be
Crazy.
playing. I can't wear a mask and sing, of course, and so that's
Oh
kind
my
of
gosh. I didn't even think of that. That's right. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
But I'm usually I have played a couple shows in real life since the pandemic started, and I'm usually up on the stage, like kind of far away from everyone. So I feel like I'm not gonna spit on anyone, I guess. Um, but yeah, so again, I think a lot of my plans and everyone's plans have been sort of upended recently, but we're getting back to some semblance of figuring things out, and normalcy, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So hey, what's one song that you've been hearing lately on the music streams that you wish they would stop playing? And I'm talking about like the SL radio or just the radio in general. What's overplayed right now?
Um, it's funny because I'm a terrible music critic because I like everything. I really just I love everything I hear. I mean, I hear like awful pop music and I'm like, this is great. I hear Lil Wayne and I'm like, this is great. And I hear like everything I hear, I find something to like about it. And so I don't know that there's anything I really dislike. I will say that there's certain songs that kind of run through SL performers. I don't know if you were here in Second Life during the Jason Mraz years, when the "I'm Yours" song was like everyone played it. Like there was, I feel like maybe I was one of very few performers who didn't play that song, and it's the reason everyone played it is because everyone loves it, and the reason everyone loves it is because it's a great song. But I think sometimes it's good to when something's getting plenty of attention on its own, it's like, well, let's try to dig something else up. Let's find something else to do. Have you guys ever heard of Tom Waits? Or something else, like somebody who's maybe a little less played, or obviously Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah gets played more than any song in the world. I've played it. I mean, everyone's played it, and it's great, and it's a wonderful song, and I love it. But I think as performers, maybe we could all reach into the bag a little deeper and maybe show something that's not as well known, and something that maybe that's just as good. It just needs a little light to shine on it. And so I try to cover, kind of obscure stuff, and that's why whenever I do request shows, I never know any of the requests that people send in. I'm the worst request man ever. It's like I don't know any of these songs. What are you talking about? And Hey Jude, never heard of it. And so,
Oh
but yeah,
no.
so but I don't dislike, I don't think I dislike anything really. And maybe give me a month to think about it, and I'll be like, here's a song. I hate the song, but no, I like it all really. And so I don't know if I wish I would stop playing it, but I mean, maybe we could give Hallelujah a little rest.
Agreed. um, in 100 years from now, how do you hope someone will remember your music and your mark on the world?
Honest. I think that's that's my only one word
I like that.
answer. Just
I like
honest.
that.
true to myself and true to my audience. I hope. And so,
I like that. I like
yeah,
that
I think
answer.
I think that's it. just
um,
just honest.
what's one thing that fans don't know about you, or followers, however you'd like to mention them, don't know about you? And also, what would you like them to know about you that they don't know?
Um, I'm terribly insecure and I'm shaking in my boots, every time. Um, I'm like completely, shaking in my boots. I think I try to come across as very calm and very collected, but I'm screaming inside. So
Oh no.
I'm not as well, I'm not as well put together as maybe my onstage persona is. But no, I think that we all have our insecurities, and obviously, we all do our best to bury them and to fight them off. And yeah, I think that's it.
I love that. And I love
I'm insecure.
but you know what? I love that. I love that you admit that, and I love that you are going up against that, because I think that makes you a stronger person for sure. Life's a journey, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it is. And it's the journey that's important.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, speaking of this whole topic, it seems like we're covering. If you could change anything in the crazy world that we live in right now, what would you like to change? What would you like to fix?
Um, I would like to see us treat our home, our planet, a little bit better. In fact, a lot better. I'd like to see more wild places for the sake of wild places. I'm extremely rooted in the natural world. I spend a lot of time in the mountains and hiking through the woods, and I just I feel like we're losing touch with that, and with that we're developing a whole set of neuroses and things that are just linked to our separation from the world that created us, the natural world that we're getting away from. And so I'd like to see us clean up our plastic problem. I'd like to see us clean up our air. So yeah, just I think
Yeah.
they're all rooted in the natural world, and preserving what's left of it, and going back to creating some more migration corridors for wild animals, so they can continue to do what they've evolved to do without us sticking our ugly mugs in the way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that one. It seems like we could be doing a lot more, honestly.
I
Um,
hope we do.
yeah. Speaking of animals and wildlife, what's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal. Um, I have a lot. I admire a lot of animals. I'm into photography, and I'm also into. I have a lot of trail cameras. Those little cameras you leave out in the woods, and they like
Yeah.
record. And I have just oodles of footage of mountain lions and foxes and bears and um, ringtail cats, all these cool critters. And I think that I relate to a lot of them in a lot of ways. Like, I wish I could be that guy. Um, but I think the raven is my spirit
Oh,
animal. I've been trying to befriend some ravens near my home for like decades, and
yeah.
they're a little standoffish. So
They're smart though. They're
I
so
haven't.
smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are extremely smart, and I just wish I wish I could get a little closer to them. But I like the way that there's so many times when I'm out in the woods, or I'm somewhere, and I feel like I'm just kind of all by myself, and then I'll look and I'll see a raven either in the air, or in a tree, or on a cliff, and they're looking. They always know what's going on, and they observe so much more than they say, and I guess that maybe I want to be a person who listens more than they talk, and uh, I don't think I am. I'm nowhere close to that, but a guy can dream. And so for that reason, I think that the raven represents maybe the person I want to be more than the person I am.
I like that. That's awesome. I like that pick of a raven. That's really deep. I like that.
I love ravens.
Um,
They're huge. They're so
they are.
big. Oh my god! And they're kind of mean too. Like I've seen ravens like carrying away like like little baby squirrels and stuff, and you're like, oh my god, they're
Oh
horrible.
no.
But by the same token, it's nature. You
Yes.
scary. You scary nature.
Um, Because we're all creators here in Second Life, I wanted to ask you what other creators, musically inclined or not, should also get a shout out for what they do, in your opinion.
Oh boy, I really don't want to leave anyone out of this,
Oh
and so
no, I'm
it's
asking the hard
it's
questions.
so I know it's very hard because there's so many creators. Because like you said, we're all creators in Second Life. There's the nice fella sitting on the couch right across the room, Luis Lockjaw, has is one of the most amazing creators in Second Life, and he doesn't necessarily build the mesh or texture the mesh, but he pulls it all together. He builds beautiful sims like Templemore. I'm sure you've all seen Templemore. It's just gorgeous. And now there's Templemore Cove, and just a real talent for that. There's the old band Ingrama, who is kind of a Second Life band. They were just unique and amazing. They haven't played for a while, and so hopefully they will someday. But that's another one that I've been sort of thinking about. How lucky we were to hear. There's a there's a kid named Hunson Abadir who is a Second Life performer that I just completely admire because he does so much. Um, he writes everything. It's total awesome songwriter, and it's just unique. And every time I hear him, I'm like, this is new for me, and I like that. And then there's so many different places. I have friends who I didn't even know create things, and then they say, "Hey, come visit my sim," and you go, you're wow, this is so cool. And so I feel like you don't have to be some 3D mesh artist, or a songwriter or something specific. You can take the many things that other people create and put them all together and make your own creation. And we all do that, and I love it. I just love it. And so I think that's a really cool thing.
Really good answer. I like that one too. You're giving great answers
Whew.
tonight.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Well, great
Here's
questions.
something. Oh, thanks. Well, here's a really light-hearted one. Okay, it's Friday night. No one wants to cook. Where are you getting your pizza from?
Oh boy, you've I like to be a positive person, but you've definitely entered an area where I'm extremely opinionated and
Oh
extremely
no.
extremely unhappy with certain things. I grew up outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and as you know, Philadelphia has a large Italian American population. New York City obviously does as well, and then the southern parts of like New Jersey do too. And there's so many good little hole in the wall pizzerias, and you go to these pizzerias, and it's just the pizza's just awesome. And then many years ago, I moved west, like so many of us East Coasters did over time, and I've found the pizza to be extremely lacking. It's like they just don't get it.
Yes.
They don't get it. I don't
Yes.
understand how they don't get it. And the crust is too thick and it's all doughy, and you're like, oh, is this a loaf of bread with some tomato sauce on it? What is this thing? And so I I to go back. So before I'm getting this pizza, do I have like a TARDIS or something that I can go like instantly travel to the East Coast, because I definitely want to go to Philadelphia or somewhere nearby and get my pizza and then bring it back here to the nice beautiful
Yeah.
forest. But what kind of pizza? What's like? Is it I, you know I think my favorite pizza that I've ever had on the East Coast is the white pizza, and it's just like kind of a garlic olive oil base with your cheese and maybe a little ricotta, and then like a green vegetable, broccoli, asparagus, something like that. It's a pretty wild pizza. I wasn't gonna say pineapple and be controversial, but I don't mind that either. And
Some people have strong emotion toward
oh,
that.
I know. And then I do make my own pizza often, and I'm not going to say that it's as good as East Coast pizza, but I like it, and I like to use chanterelle mushrooms, which are one of my favorite things to go look for in the woods and find. And you can kind of make a base, cream and chanterelle and thyme as the base, and then do your ingredients on top, and then your pizza, and that's a really good pizza too. So, but yeah, I'm getting it from the East Coast. That's where I'm getting it
Yes,
from.
I hear you. I hear you on that one. I've been to LA a lot, and honestly, they suck at pizza. Honestly, I totally hear you.
Yeah, I don't get
Yeah,
it.
but okay, I'm getting hungry now. My gosh,
It's as we'd say in southern New Jersey, it's the water. Not the
So you
water,
guys had a
it's the
really
wooder.
unique accent.
Yeah, we do. I've almost lost mine, but I still say wooder once in a while. It depends on how many drinks I've had. It starts to come out.
So here's the dreaded personal question: is Oblee single? And if not, who's the partner?
Is Oblee single? No, I am not single. I haven't been for quite some time. Back in my ski resort days, I was lucky enough to meet a beautiful ski bunny, and we got married, and we've
Oh,
just had a wonderful time for many years, backpacking, rafting, skiing, just doing all the things that kind of make our lives what they are. And then just recently, we've added a third member to the family. We had a little girl who's just turned 2,
oh,
and so
congratulations!
thank you. And yeah, life's like that. Life's really crazy. I
Oh
think
my gosh, yeah.
she was squeaking in the background for some of my questions, so hopefully hopefully she wasn't too loud. But yeah, so and then she is my partner in Second Life as well. I have a brand here in Second Life where I make musical instruments that they all play in sync with each other and all this stuff. And she's a graphic designer in real life and just a Photoshop whiz, and so she's done a lot of my texturing, and so she will come in Second Life once in a while, but it's usually for work. And so she's
Gotcha.
not she's not the most talkative in Second Life, but yeah, she pops in once in a while.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's so awesome. Yeah, and a little baby, that's a lot of stress for sure. So I hope you get through this last year. And I think after when they turn like 3, 4, 5, 6, so much better.
I don't
Go ahead and get
know.
2.
I don't know. She's not that cranky, but it was
No.
pretty. I really like the years when she couldn't move. That was kind of or the year or so that was she wasn't getting around so fast. Because now it's just like I like turn around. I'm like, where'd she go?
Oh
where
no,
where did
yeah,
she go?
it's true.
She's so fast. So
Oh my goodness.
it's that's I look forward to her getting faster. I guess I'm gonna need to get faster with her, which or how likely that is either.
So how can people, so you told us about your website, of course, but if people want to find out the latest and greatest and sort of be on the cutting edge, where do they go to? What should they join and follow?
Oh, well, here in Second Life, I have a group. It's just called Oblee. The group's the same as my name, which is sort of funny because when I send out group I am, sometimes people think it's like personal I am, and they respond with like a personal thing. It's like maybe a little crude for my because of course my sense of humor tends to be on the crude side, and so I've had so many friends like respond to a group notice. But yeah, it's just called the Oblee group. You can join that. I have a subscribo. I usually res the sign up thing at my shows, so if you come to a show, you can do that. Brooks, my amazing manager, is so good about reminding the places I play to make sure that my event listing in Second Life events is correct. So I'm always in Second Life events. And then, yeah, my website. The website's kind of just a hub to get you to all my other stuff. It goes to my SoundCloud, it goes to my Facebook, it goes to my Twitter. I'm like, every place is a little different. On Facebook, I just post like cutesy stuff. On Twitter, I'm a little more political and annoying, and and then YouTube, of course, I have a YouTube channel, and I have a lot of shows on there that I've saved. Then I'll start doing live shows again on YouTube as soon as it cools down. It was in the heat of summer. I just wasn't feeling like being on camera. It was
Yeah.
it was hot down here. I'm like, oh, I can't get my hair to stay how I like it. So no, but I do broadcast a lot of times my Second Life shows into YouTube as well. So yeah, obleemusic.com is the best place for that. Or just drop me a line in Second Life. I'll give you all the information you need.
Awesome. And any shout outs to people who make Oblee's music possible?
Well, I've mentioned Luis and Brooks, who are right here, who have just done so much for me. The venues, of course, have the venues who have me play. Of course, I can't name all of them, but so many of them have made my Second Life possible, and just giving me the gigs, believing in me, and especially at the beginning when I first started, I wasn't a solo performer. I got a looper, and I would have an hour-long show and play like 3 songs, and it would just be like really drag them out and get kind of loopy. And so, there's people at the beginning who believed in me and kept giving me the shows and the places to play. And that kind of happened in real life. I started booking real life shows because of Second Life, and
Wow.
so there's so much, and those people in real life too. The bar owners who did the same thing. They kind of believed in me, and because it was something a little different, and wasn't necessarily the thing that got people kicking the doors down to come in. And so, yeah, that's everyone. And so, really, if you've ever interacted with me musically, I'm very appreciative. Again, all the venues and all the people like you who have done interviews and done things like that. So
Absolutely.
really, really, anyone I've interacted with has been just amazing. So I really appreciate
We
it all.
appreciate we appreciate you and everything you do too. We love your music.
Oh, so glad.
Okay, last question. And of course, what's your favorite Second Life TV station?
It's got to be Crisp TV,
Oh,
the Crisp
really?
Network. No, it's got to be this one because I haven't seen Treat TV. I used to do some stuff with them back in the day, and I'm not sure if they're still operating. I know that people, real life happens and people get busy. There's been some great ones, but yeah, I think it's gonna have to be this one right now because it's the only one that I'm currently standing with. but but also, yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited that Second Life's kind of taken this. It's surging. There's more people in here
Yeah.
than there have been in years, and so it's kind of nice. I feel like Second Life is waking up again, and so I think the Crisp Network's going to be the voice of the new Second Life. So
Yes.
I'm really pleased for you, and wish you all the best of luck.
Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And thank you for taking a few moments to interview with us and be with us, Oblee. We do appreciate that. And of course, thank you today for joining us and for watching and for more behind the pixels. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification to get notified of new episodes. Also, take a moment to visit our website, chrissl.com, to stay updated 24/7. That's it for now. I'm Alexis Chris, and this
And
is.
Oblee,
Until next time, good night, Second Life.
bye.
Bye.